Welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast, your number one opinion source for all things entertainment. Join host Marco Mazzola as he sounds off on the latest movies, TV, music, gaming, comic books, and more. Now, here's the man of the hour, Marco Mazzola.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast. I am, as always, your host, Marco Mazzola, and let's go around the room and say hello to our ranters today. Hello, Mila.
Hello.
Hello, Larry.
Hey.
And hello, Bruno.
Mr. Jones.
Oh, no. No time for love, Dr. Jones. So,
Shorty in the house.
Shorty round in the house. So today, gang, we're not talking about Indiana Jones 2. We're going to be talking about Indiana Jones 4, The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Lord help us. Surprisingly, we just looked this up. It has a 78% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I can't believe that 8 is in there. I thought it would just be a 7. I have no idea how that got
awful high for that movie.
Idea how that got to double digits on Rotten Tomatoes. So this movie came out in 2008, obviously starring Harrison Ford, and we got some of our older players back with Karen Allen in there, which I thought was, for me, going into it, not having realized what this was ultimately going to be, because they kind of, obviously they buried the lead when it came to the, the trailers and everything like that. Seeing Karen Allen back, I was excited. Bringing it back to Indiana Jones 1, like I like that kind of shit when they do that. We got some other players in this one. Cate Blanchett, who I enjoy. I think she's a great actress. Unfortunately, they also put Shia LaBeouf in. Himself, who is hit or miss for me, mostly miss. I enjoyed him in the first Transformers movie. Beyond that, he's obnoxious. He played that smart alecky kid well in the first one, right? When he's talking to his dad. Did you have a good night there, handsome man? Like when he's doing that kind of stuff, I think he's good. Beyond that, I think he's obnoxious. Personally, on the outside, he's just a fucking wackadoo who Hollywood's kind of, chewed up and spit out and, kind of turned him the wrong way. And, he's got money and too much of it and not enough to know how to do with it, at a young age. So, unfortunately for him, the shit hit the fan.
I mean, not for nothing. You got to be pretty bad when you're in a franchise like Transformers and they don't keep you.
Yeah, you managed. Well, I mean, seriously, Megan Fox managed too, but that's the whole other thing.
That's a different.
That's a director issue because he's also not the nicest guy on the planet either.
Right.
So there is that, but getting back to Harrison Ford, leading the show. Directed by Steven Spielberg. And did he direct all of them? I feel like he did. I could be wrong.
So this was by George Lucas and Spielberg.
Yeah, story by George Lucas, screenplay by David Koepp. I wonder how much Lucas had to do with this story. For me, because of where it ends, it feels like a lot. Because of where they go to by the end of this movie, it feels like, this has a lot of stink of George Lucas. Yeah, he's busy writing this while tinkering again with the first Star Wars and putting more musical numbers in for no good fucking reason. Like, this is just kind of like where his career has gone. So let's go around the room and kind of get everybody's take on it, because we're going to have some interesting points of view today. Some shit we're not going to, as a listener of the show, you're not going to see this one coming. But I'm going to bury the lead a bit here, so I'm going to start with Bruno this time. Your thoughts on Indiana Jones 4?
I loved it. No, I'm just kidding.
You fucking liar.
I grew up in Indiana Jones, and the first few were awesome. Mm-hmm. And then this was terrible.
It was just not
very
the
cool.
Indy you grew up with.
Very deep.
The minute you start introducing aliens into like an Indiana thing, it's like it just becomes ridiculous, right? So for me, if it hadn't been an alien skull or been something else, make it an ancient Mayan or Incan or something mystical, then I would have been okay. But like aliens, not aliens. Just don't ever do aliens.
Yeah, we talked about, who was I talking about?
It was
you, right? We said the exact same thing. You weren't even here. We said the same thing. If you had made the skull or whatever part of a different, maybe they thought it was something else, but it really wasn't. It was like a Mayan thing, but didn't really have to do with aliens. That would have been fine. But to actually see the fucking spaceship leave. Like, you have definitely nuked the fridge on this fucking one.
The minute that happened, my head was exploding.
Well, when you see the alien, the crystals go to the aliens kind of stand up, and then all that mystical shit.
The second the aliens were actually aliens,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is a bit much.
Yeah,
But that was literally the end of the movie.
Right.
Snowball.
Yep, and so they took like what could have been a pretty okay movie,
Yeah.
And then kicked
fucking
you in the balls
at the
down
end.
the
Yeah.
toilet, right?
Yeah,
no,
it
no,
was
no, no.
going well.
Actually,
I
no, no, no.
Right
It
up
was-
until then, they were like, "All right, we're hovering around like
Yeah.
a B minus. Like
Yeah.
we're just barely holding this
Yeah.
level, and all
We're
of a sudden the
hovering-
aliens show
Yeah.
up, and it's like fucking F. So you can hear the toilet flushing.
No fucking way. They pulled your head
Yeah.
back and shit right down your neck.
You could hear the producer going, "You know what? Fuck this whole place. Make the
This is my
alien
last
spaceship
one?
take off."
This is my last movie, and I'm out, bitches.
Yeah, and that was his like.
This is what you get.
Double pistol fingers, fucking.
And you went from like first Indiana Jones 81, right? You have Temple of Doom 84. Then you go all the way to 89 for Last Crusade, and then it jumps to 2008.
Yeah, because they were
Big
like
fucking jump between
the
the
Last
movies.
Crusade. They were like, "We're done. This is the Last Crusade."
Right.
They
It's one of those-
finished it.
They even put
and
the
then
word
they're like,
last
"You know
in
what?
there.
meaning to
Let's
the,
go
to the
back.
title.
Let's go back.
Yeah, one more dip in the well.
and
right?
let's make it fucking aliens."
one more dip in the well of souls.
It's probably a.
And they sold their soul for this one.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
They absolutely sold their soul to make this.
Whoever
movie.
wrote this movie,
Yeah.
you need
Lucas.
you need to
and,
go away.
Since the CGI groundhog at the beginning, you could see it just wasn't going to be
Prairie
the same.
dogs.
The prairie dog.
Prairie,
Yeah.
prairie dog.
dogs.
My bad. The
I mean,
prairie,
but
they're prairie
other
dogs.
whole-
Other than
yeah.
that, I did enjoy the typical like Indiana experience, right? Harrison Ford is an amazing Indiana. He is Indiana
Yep.
Jones, and
Yeah.
the way he brought that character to life was amazing.
Absolutely.
I always think it's hilarious when like bullets with one shot make cars explode, and
Yep.
just bullshit like
greatest
that.
thing.
Yeah, and it looked like they were using like tracer fire because like as they were firing, you could see like flashes of light
Yep.
here and there, and I was like, oh, they're using tracers.
Yeah.
That's funny, and a
Yeah.
handgun, right? So shit like that, that's just like fun Harrison Ford stuff.
Yeah.
but it would have been okay if the aliens hadn't shown up. If they hadn't,
Yeah.
if it hadn't
I
actually
think-
been aliens.
You would have had a
It
a
still
fair-
would have been my
okay with it.
favorite.
It would have been the weakest of the
Yeah.
four movies, but it still would have been redeemable.
I'll challenge you on
You know?
that. I'll challenge you on that. I think it is the weakest of the four, only because of the aliens. If it weren't for the aliens, I still would have loved it over Temple of Doom.
No
that is still
way!
my least
I
favorite.
love Temple.
Really?
I
Take
like
that
Temple.
back.
No,
right now.
I
Temple of
do not
Doom.
stand
Take that
Temple
back.
of
Oh,
Doom.
finally, I'm in a room full of people that like Temple of Doom.
I fucking hate that movie.
No way!
No
I don't hate
way.
that.
He pulled his heart out. He's like,
Yeah.
boom, 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 like that.
Kalima!
Nah, I can't.
You're wrong, buddy.
No, I know. I
I
understand.
love
Temple of
I
Doom.
fully understand. I'm on this island, just clutching onto the movie by myself.
Mr.
I hate this
Jones.
fucking movie, and I'm just kind of swaying back and forth on this little island all by myself. I totally understand that. But much like I feel like Empire was not the strongest, and I know that's like the most opposite way the world thinks. I don't think Empire was the strongest Star Wars movie of the original three. But I get why everybody loves it. It's just not my favorite. It's the same thing happened with Temple of Doom. It just was not my favorite out of the first three. I love number 1. 3 for me was very magical because they brought in his dad, and I love Sean Connery. And I like that dynamic that they had this sort of buddy cop movie happening here. That was kind of fun. But like to me, it's like 1 and 3 really balance out as my favorites, and then the second one was like my least out of the 3, and this one just really tanked it because of the aliens.
Well, the aliens,
Yeah.
but I mean, if this one without the aliens,
If
I
they had
still-
made
My
like a
ranking-
mind
Yeah.
I
fucking
still
thing
think
at
it
the
would
end,
not
I
have
would have
been-
been fine.
My
I still
ranking
would have
is
put
similar.
it 4, but
Yeah.
not quite so far down.
I wouldn't have put it
Yeah.
as 4. I liked a lot of the callbacks and flashback, the callbacks they did to the first one. They kind of pulled in a lot of the old stuff in this one, which I think
Yeah.
is fun to do. Like I said with Karen Allen,
Yep.
if they had replaced Shia LaBeouf with a better, an actual actor, not that nitwit, who then goes on to dog the fucking movie publicly. This movie that paid you millions. Really? Did you give back the check, asshole?
Yeah.
No, you didn't. You cashed out right away, didn't you? So that kind of pissed me off about him. But like, there was just some fun parts of this movie. Were there annoying parts of this movie? Absolutely. But that opening scene in Temple of Doom with the song and they're kicking around the fucking, the diamond and with her and Kate Capshaw, I could throw her to the
See,
goddamn
yeah.
pit of fucking fire.
But that's when we see what
Let her fall in the goddamn thing. I don't care.
But at the beginning of Temple of Doom, with the club scene,
Yeah.
that
The wildly racist club scene, yeah.
Well, I mean, it
it was
is
84, whatever it was. Yeah.
It was 19.
It was 84. The first one was 81. This was
right, but that movie takes place in like the 30s.
Yeah, in the 30s.
So,
sure.
and that was
the
like,
movie wasn't made in the 30s.
I understand that, but that was
In the
they're
30s,
trying to
that would have
portray
been.
No, I understand. I understand.
During
That's
the 30s,
that's
they
fair
had
for the
clubs
30s.
like that.
No, I totally get what you're saying,
So-
but in 2022, you're not making a movie with that in there.
Guess what? It was 1980.
It was-
Yeah, it was 84 when they made it. You know?
Again,
If you were to make, let's say, that movie with a club from the 1930s now, you'd still potentially include that with the understanding that this is the way it used to be.
Yeah, you still have a hard time getting away with that shit these days because they're
but
really.
if it's done right.
they were making.
If it's done right,
they
yeah.
were making like the Chinese guys in that movie like really like stereotypical gangster. You know, the guy and with the accents and everything like that. It's a really hard time
Well,
to get
they
away with
added
that
a
shit.
1980s spin to it. You're right, but
you know what I'm
if you
saying?
were,
Like,
Yeah.
so they leaned into it.
They
But
did. You
if
can't.
you
It's
were to
really hard to
make
get away with that shit
now,
now.
it would be inaccurate to portray it in a wildly different way.
I agree
See, the
with you.
thing
You're
is,
right. So they
they
wouldn't
would-
do it. So they just
You're-
avoid it altogether.
I think they would. I think some people would. I think there's
I
some
feel
artists
like-
that
anything like
would.
that
I'm going
recently.
to agree with Marco
Not
here. They're
recently.
more. It's much more like nowadays they would not do that. They
So
wouldn't-
you're just saying that they
No, no,
would
no,
just
no, no, no,
ignore
no, no,
and
no.
not
No,
make
no, no,
that
but
movie.
they're
They just
going
wouldn't
to.
do that. They just wouldn't
would.
say,
They wouldn't
hey,
make
No, no,
the
no.
movie.
Listen.
No,
Listen.
they wouldn't
Listen,
make that part.
They would have made it inaccurate in order to not do that.
Or
I think that's too bad.
they would have just left it out altogether.
And that's bad.
Yeah.
Find a different
And they
way
would've,
for them
yeah.
to
I
would
get the
prefer that
thing.
they
Either
just
Would
change
they
it
would
or
go
they would've
into like an
gotten rid
old,
of it.
into China, and do this whole Asian.
Well, it was supposed to be
thing
it
and
was
make
supposed to be
fun of them.
it was supposed to be a club, and I believe it was in Bangkok.
Yeah, that's right. It was in Bangkok.
yeah.
right?
And they were gangsters.
Yes.
that ran that club in
Right.
the 30s.
You're not doing that these days. And there's multiple
Okay,
reasons.
so wait, then that's like saying that you can't do a mob movie that shows like Italian Americans, right? You can't do that.
They still have a harder time doing that nowadays. They've had a harder time doing that. Some of the newer ones get a lot of shit for it. Even The Sopranos have been getting more shit for the way they portrayed them back, and that wasn't that long ago. But in 2022, everybody's so overly fucking sensitive.
Well, then
that you
that's what
can't.
that
It's
is.
really hard to do that
It's-
nowadays. It is. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying
I mean,
it is
you're
the state of the
whitewashing
world.
Yeah, it's just
And
how
don't
it is.
forget. Now let's
Woke-washing.
take it back to Temple of
That's- yeah.
Doom. It's in Bangkok. It's Asian actors. It's Asian people. The biggest audience is China. They're not going to do that because it's going to piss off the Chinese and the Asians, and therefore the movie will not be seen there. So they can't even do it because
Okay.
they know that movie won't get
Well,
shown
it won't-
there.
it won't
and
get
you
shown in
cut off
those
your
things.
nose to
Yeah.
spite your
Okay.
face just to get the scene in there.
I see what you're saying. Okay,
Yeah.
but so
now,
in retrospect, that
what we used to do is like maybe the Germans were the bad guys or the Asians were the bad. Now it's like the Middle Eastern. That seems to be the okay for whatever reason, and it shouldn't necessarily be. But like if you have to have a bad guy, and it's flipping back again towards the Russians because of all the shit going on. So fucking somebody has to be the bad guys, and who do we not care that we piss off
right
and make them the bad guys?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Back then, we didn't care if we pissed them off and made them the bad guys. And
It was all- yeah, like you said,
nowadays,
it's the 80s, you
you're
make fun
not
of
going to have the
anybody,
Asians
right?
as the bad guys
Yeah.
like that.
The 80s was
stereotypically,
pretty much, we'll
because
just
you're not
make
going to
fun
get
of
shown.
anybody.
They'll shut that shit down, and you lose a huge market.
But so regardless of that part, what I was going to say was you needed that part of Indy running around with the gem and the
Yeah.
because we needed to understand who Indiana Jones was. Like,
Sure.
I mean, this is the second movie, so
Nowadays
we already
they do it
know.
just in a very
but
different
now we're
way.
going to see more of him being that guy, like instead
I
of
think
the
it wasn't necessarily the
professor.
scene for me. It wasn't necessarily the fact that they used it was in Asia, it was in Bang. That didn't bother me. It's the fucking musical number. I have a hard time when you throw. It's not a
But
musical.
Madness
it's Indiana
ensues.
Jones.
I love
I
it.
understand,
craziness in the
but
background,
they're still
everybody's
trying to sing the
dancing.
fucking song. They get this whole musical number, and it's just shout. I can't stand it.
I
It's
gotta
like
say,
Lucas.
it's one hell of
big
a way to open
surprise.
a movie
Remember
now.
Remember who wrote this? Lucas.
It was Lucas.
Lucas, the same one who puts musical numbers in Return of the Jedi. For no good fucking reason. Like, there was a bit of a musical number, and now you have the CGI fucking Muppet running around
weird.
with Cy Schnoodle, who's now become CGI, and on screen, and if you look to the back left, the Muppet of Cy Schnoodle is still there from the original shot.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. So you have the CGI one running around over here, and the original one they didn't notice is still in the shot in the background very briefly.
Oh.
Just kind of standing there, as it did like with the little puppet one.
Speaking of the musical number, did you see there's a meme running around Facebook where it's the clarinet player from the original Cantina scene in the first Star Wars, and he's telling a story to his buddy, and he's like, so then this guy comes in, and these two guys give him some static, and this guy just whips out a lightsaber and cuts the guy's hand off. Everybody goes silent, And the bartender just looks at me and says, keep playing. So I kept playing. Then he takes a swig. It's like craziest thing I ever saw.
Craziest thing I ever saw.
It's awesome.
Crazy shit, awesome. Yeah. So anyway, that was awesome. You are right. I've seen that one. So back to Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal. What the fuck? It started off. I don't know. There's so much going on in this movie, right? And who you were talking about this the other day. Like, what's his name? The guy who plays Mac, who's like a triple, quadruple, 8-time double agent. It's like, dude, I'm a triple A, but I'm a spy, but I'm a Jesus,
I was
dude.
so sick of that
remember
guy.
how I told you Berlin?
Once he said he was a double agent, I was like, ooh, oh my gosh, he's a double agent.
Triple agent.
And then he says, I'm a triple agent. I was like, okay, stop right
Enough.
there. If you do that one more time, and he goes, I might do it one more time. And I'm like, look, please, I beg of you, just die already or something. Die or just be a good or a bad guy. Don't keep swapping sides.
Stop swapping!
Hey, so on a separate note, I just realized we just got a new Apple podcast review.
Oh,
it's a 3-star, not a 5, and this is definitely something we have to work on. It says 1 at a time, please. It says good information, but stop talking over each other.
Fair enough.
Matt, I love Trumper from the United States. Don't bother listening to the last couple episodes because we talked the fuck over each other.
It's tough.
It's tough. We definitely do that a lot. But
only the last couple episodes?
Just from today. I can't say that we're going to stop that anytime soon, but thank you.
I think we're a little bit more cognizant of it.
Yeah.
We are.
We're getting better with it.
We could be better.
We
could have
could
a
be a lot better.
Let's get a talking stick. No, I'm just kidding.
Talking stick. That's why I can beat you with it.
That's it. Give me the talking stick.
Yeah. It's still better than our Washington Sentinel review, so I'll take it. I'll take it. I don't care. I'll take it. Anyway, back to Indy and Shia LaBeouf. He was completely useless. I don't like the fact that he was his son. I thought that was just a piss poor way to deal. I have no problem with them introducing Indy's son, even though we have like no real reason to do it, or like, you know, kind of like we were talking about before in Thor. Like, how do you introduce this? There was no reason. We don't ever see the fact. You know what I mean? Like, there's no indication ever. Like, all of a sudden, it's the son you didn't know you have, and he's a fucking adult almost. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it's almost as if you were to write Thor and then not explain why the key is
exactly. Almost like that.
Marco, it's easy. He's just his son. Him and a woman.
No,
had a
this
baby.
wasn't magic. He had to sleep with Karen Allen.
Wait a minute, wait.
He had to sleep with Marion.
So simple. Him and a woman had a
other.
baby. You just figure that out.
Him and Marion had to sleep together.
I mean, that could be magic.
I wasn't too like annoyed by that, just because like I don't know. I feel like back then it wasn't a trope all that much, so I was like, oh, that's like I kind of dug that. I thought that was interesting.
Like I said, I didn't have a problem with him being son. It's Shia LaBeouf.
The
person that Bro chose to be his son is what bothered me.
Oh, you didn't want Shia to be the son.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even put the son there.
It wasn't
because at the end
it
of
was
the
that it was
day,
him.
somebody has to carry on, right? We're getting Indy 5. I mean, it's going to be Indiana Jones in the search for the fucking, old age home at this point. Like, where the hell is he going to be? You know what I mean?
Where's my wheelchair?
Where's my Geritol? Like, I need some shit. You know what I mean? Like, so you got to have somebody who's going to take over the mantle. And we know it's not going to be Shia LaBeouf in the next one because they're very detached from him.
Question. Why? Why have anyone take over the mantle? Why not write something new? Why not
listen, Bruno,
create a new
we've gone over this
goddamn
before.
story?
It's fucking money.
No. Put it to bed. Land this plane and call it a day. Don't give me fucking Indiana son.
They will never.
Shia LaBeouf has already finished this. He's not coming back. He's not the actor you want.
Listen, I don't want to get another review. I don't want to get another review here, but
let's get it. We're done.
It's all about money, and they will continue pumping this shit out until it stops making money, and then they'll do one more.
What if they did like the New Adventures of Indiana Jones?
Well, they did that as a TV show.
Did they?
Yeah.
So it's too late.
With the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles.
Oh, yeah.
Damn it.
And it was supposed to be River Phoenix, because he was in Last Crusade, then he passed away.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
I actually do remember
this was before you were born.
Look, I know. That's why I'm discovering this stuff now.
Yeah, it was 89.
That's right.
Listening to old
I do
music
remember
and
that.
watching old movies, I'm like, oh.
That came out in the early 90s.
Yeah, he died outside the Viper Club, I think.
The Viper, yep. The Viper.
So, that unfortunately put, on that. But yeah, I think, and I wouldn't mind. I would like something
it's
stronger.
not so much like a reboot, but it's just more of like a continuation of it.
Yeah.
So
that talks. Let's have that discussion. Bruno's here. Would you like a reboot or continuation? Or neither? I know you're probably going to say neither, but assume that they're going to keep going with this property.
Tell me what you mean by those.
Okay, so reboot is they go back to the original, recast somebody as Indy, and
reshoot that movie essentially.
Well, yeah, but maybe make it different. Don't do the going for the arc again. Make a new movie, but we're rebooting the whole franchise because Harrison's gone or too old. After he's gone or too old.
So choose a new actor.
Different adventure.
Going. James Bond, essentially.
Yeah, it's a new Indy. Or do you just
no? Hold on, because you just said basically.
No, I'm just trying to understand what he's saying.
Right. But you said like James Bond, but the James Bond stories, I think is different. Like, let's say
they're individual. They don't.
They're all individual. Like they don't really tie
Some of them
in.
tie together
minimally, but yes, and they did that on purpose.
The last few have tied together.
Well, I think they've done that one on purpose, like the Casino Royals. But like if you look at like the early ones,
the same actors' movies will often tie together, but once they shift actors, they don't tie together with the other ones.
But you understand
a little arc. Like the Roger Moore movies will kind of, you know what I mean? The Timothy Dalton only would do like one or two.
He only did one, I think.
Right, but the Pierce Brosnan movies kind of work together.
Pierce Brosnan was doing other movies. That's why Timothy Dalton did one.
Yeah. So anyway, you're right. So do we do a reboot or do we do a continuation? Now it's Indy's son continues on. You know what I mean? His middle name is Indiana, whatever. So we still call him Indiana Jones.
So there are a couple issues with that, right? If you already did Shia as his son, you'd have to reshoot.
Nah, you can reboot. You can reboot with somebody else. That doesn't matter. They do that kind of shit all the time.
All right, so
it's not like a Chadwick Boseman. Like you're not gonna, you know what I mean? People feel strongly whether one way or the other whether you continue him on.
But then again, it's also been long enough that you could now do it. Let's say that movie takes place in the 50s. You could start it in the 70s, 80s, and basically say that it's the grandson of Indiana Jones.
I don't want to see his grandson walking around in big
with a fedora,
70s shirts and with the giant lapels,
the giant collars,
and the collars,
the bell bottoms,
the oranges and the browns.
Disco's alive, baby. Disco's alive.
Oh my
god, the bell bottoms.
Circular glasses.
Yep. So, I mean, personally, I don't see a big difference between those two. You're just continuing the IP.
Yeah.
And so, to me,
just assume they're going to continue the IP.
Yeah. So, to me, I would, if you're talking about, and this is not true for all IP that's out there because there are some movies that have room to be explored, but Indiana, to me, is a story about an archaeologist who went off the beaten path to actually do some of the interesting research himself in the fucking rainforests, and he explored some cool shit.
Yeah.
And that was a cool, novel, interesting thing when they did it. Like in the first one with the ball rolling down, he escaped, with the weighted skull. Like that was interesting. It was cool. It was new. Mm-hmm. It's been done. Now he's gone after multiple things. You've introduced,
but every one of them has somewhat of a cold open, right? Where they do this initial, he's going to do something adventure, but it has nothing to do with the rest of the story. The major thing he's going for.
But it's been done. The concept has been explored pretty in depth. The fact that they had to introduce aliens at the end, to me, feels like they were running out of story to write. Yeah. You can't have a plucky little sidekick anymore. Mr. Jones, you can't. He's already had a bunch of loves. So, like, if you were going to do a reboot, that wouldn't feel. You feel like you're going to the well once too many times. If you were going to do a son of or a grandson of, that would be more interesting to me because now you bring it up into, instead of being in the 50s or the 40s when they were doing it, now it's in the 70s or 80s or 90s or whatever, right? You could bring it a little bit more modern. That might be interesting. I think
But you could do what they did from Crystal Skull. You could take it right up from there. He's kind of done. Shia LaBeouf was his son. He becomes the next Indy. You're not going to put Shia. You put somebody else, recast him.
Whatever.
Because who gives a shit?
But what I'm saying is the younger generations might relate better, right? They may, look at this guy's on Facebook. This guy's on TikTok.
Well,
so you could do some of that. That might be more fun and might bring them into it a little bit.
I wouldn't be against that happening. If they did like a grandson or something, your great grandson.
Yeah, it might be cool. And then he's like, you see a picture on the wall of Indiana Jones of Harrison Ford with the hat. You know what I mean? Right. Exactly.
And he puts it on all dramatic.
Yeah, it's a new take on it. Or, hear me out, you just write a brand new story about something completely fucking different and put Indiana to bed. Let it be done. This has got a good run. Go out on top if you want to call the Crystal Skull on top.
Well, no, there's 5's coming, so.
So that's the problem. That's a fucking problem for me because I don't.
I would rather
Harrison
end it at
Ford,
3.
What's Harrison Ford going to do? Come on, I love that guy. But what is he going to do in this movie?
He didn't do much in the last Star Wars movie.
All right,
he got killed.
Well, no, but it wasn't even a lot of jumping around and shit.
it wasn't.
He wasn't running away from the big rolling ball.
He's in his 70s, right?
Yeah.
Like the poor guy.
Hey, he's getting hurt walking with his ankle and shit.
Yeah, it's not his fault. It's just he's older now. Let him fucking retire.
Carry him around with wires.
Do something new. Change the story. There's so much to be written out there. There's so many great books that you could turn into movies.
But we've talked about this before.
We have.
They have this known
I
property.
think it's lazy.
I agree with you.
You're right.
So
we're not disagreeing.
Take a book that is well written, well received.
Yeah,
right.
Change it.
And
Wheel
don't
of Time,
change it.
for instance.
Don't fucking change it like the goddamn Wheel of Time. Don't fucking change it.
I had to throw the light on that fire.
Change. Just create a movie that is what is in the book. That writer wrote a book. Everybody loves the way they wrote it. Make that into a movie.
Yes.
And call it a day, or make a series. But there's so much out there.
There is
you
a ton.
don't have to keep going after the IP that's already so done.
Okay, let's continue the conversation. You have this IP. You own this IP. You don't need to invest more money into purchasing the IP because you already own it. So now we can just crank out movies and TV shows and whatever. But now I want to go after a new IP.
Then do the generation.
I want to go after a new IP. I have to pay for that
thing.
IP. I have to acquire that IP, which costs money, and then I have to get everybody on board with that IP.
You can create an entire
Wheel
new
of
universe.
Time, if they made that awesome. Right, let's just say they made Wheel of Time awesome. Yeah. I never read the books. You now have to get me invested in Wheel of Time. You just spend the money to get me invested in something I've never read. But Indiana Jones I've known since 81.
No,
Make more of them, I'll be fine with it.
Game of Thrones is a great example of taking IP.
Yep.
They took a chance on a
I
series.
never read the books.
No, you okay, that's fine.
I never finished watching the series.
But they were extremely well received. The
Sure.
books had a
huge following.
He's been So take that following, find a series, a new series, like could have been Wheel of Time, right? Wheel of Time has a series. It's like a million readers.
Done our Wheel of Time episode. We just should do it.
It's got like a million readers, like maybe more, right? And they could have taken that and really crushed
just
it.
get it off his chest. That's all I want to do.
Oh, I'm so fucking annoyed by it. Don't change the goddamn story.
Is this Bruno? Is this
his Dark Knight?
Bruno,
Yeah.
is this the point you're trying to get to? Why did they do that?
Everything always comes back to
It's
Wheel of
all
Time.
dead. Bruno, are you lashing out
Just understand
because something that happened?
that Wheel of Time is Bruno's Dark Knight.
Oh my god.
It's his Christopher Nolan Batman
Is this where
series.
this is going? You've been hurt.
I've been hurt
too strongly.
When they showed they hurt me on the Wheel of Time doll.
That's right.
They did that to
They did all
it's
over.
sad.
It's
All
just,
over us.
they rewrote a story that is
You're
just
just holding
extremely
out
well written to
hope,
begin with. You don't need to rewrite
All right, so
it.
back to Indiana Jones.
So that aside, if you're going to continue with the IP,
you have
Marco,
two choices:
I say go with the generational.
reboot or continue.
Yes.
Continue the generational. I think that's a better route.
And there's that.
But my preferred route is to have a brand new story bring to the big screen. Find another book series. There's so many out there. Look on the top. Look at the bestsellers in any genre in the book world. Turn that into movies or a TV series, and you've got an instant following. What's that? Look at the Foundation. Have you guys seen? Anybody know who read the Foundation series by Isaac Asimov?
Nope.
No.
All right, you guys are missing out. But if you ever get a chance to read the Foundation series, it's excellent. It was extremely well written. They took that, turned it into a TV series, and they basically threw out the books and just rewrote it to make it be whatever they want. Again, another huge fail. It could have been just take what they wrote. You get millions of people that already love it, and you've got a hit series on your hands, either a series or a hit movie on your hands. That's all you got to do. I don't understand why it's so hard for producers or executives to understand that.
Because they feel that, from what I've gathered, is because they need to have their own take on it, or their own. So this way they can say, "Well, that was my movie."
Get your notoriety by bringing this to life really well.
Yeah.
Okay. If I'm a director. All right, I get it. I want to put my own spin on that, but that's not my job. If I've got a movie, if I wrote my own script, I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
But people have been doing that with
book or
stories
series.
forever and a day. Look at all the Batmans, bless you. Look at all the Batmans that we've seen. quote unquote, people will argue the point when they say, "Oh, well, I don't like that movie sucked," and somebody else, their always go to excuses. Well, that was their take on it. Why would you want to do a quote unquote their take or their spin when you have all this reference material? Just literally take it right from the pages, like you're saying.
Yes.
Take it right from the pages and put it on screen. It ain't that fucking hard.
No, but you're right about that. But I think when you're taking comic books and putting it on screen, it's different because the comic books isn't like a novel it's got a lot of things already laid out. So I can understand where they might be like, look, I read the first 10 episodes of Batman, or the comic books, and we're going to put that on screen. Now, whether you put it on you can put it on screen like Ang Lee did for Hulk.
Ugh.
Right, he did it in a very comic book look, which I get.
A lot of comic book wipes.
He was trying, the wipes. Like that was an artistic choice, and I get that. I get that.
The
panels.
That's
weird.
just.
But the story is there's
But it
no
didn't work.
it didn't work so well. But there's no Game of Thrones book. Like they took the first Game of Thrones book and they were fairly good about keeping the story essentially what it was from the books into the show. And so not only did you get all the fans who already read the books and wanted to see it be brought to life, you get new people into it because it was a pretty good story. And so all of a sudden you've got a huge following and you got a fucking hit, just like HBO. They nailed it, and then they threw it away in the last season because they were trying to rush it out.
Well, that was a lot of the back end of that
issue,
right?
But the original first few books, and it's not their fault. They ran out of
books.
I mean, he should have finished the books.
He was like, yeah, dude, I'm like halfway through the fourth book. They're like, dude, we need material.
Way too late.
Fuck it, we'll run our own shit.
Something that we're going to run on our own.
Yeah,
but when they brought to life what he wrote, they loved it.
Yeah.
They loved it. It was a hit.
Slow ass.
That's all you got to do.
Faster.
That's all you got to do.
I'm sorry.
And there's so many out there like that.
Back to Indiana Jones. I feel like we do that a lot.
Do that all the time.
We do that.
You literally said all right, let's get back to Indiana Jones, and we immediately
got right off the subject.
stopped talking about Indiana Jones.
This pertains to Indiana because we're talking about whether you perpetuate.
We're talking about potentially continuing Indiana Jones. We're not talking about Indiana
We haven't continued Indiana Jones yet.
We haven't been continuing.
So Indiana Jones 4.
What a movie,
Happy to see Karen Allen back. I thought that was I enjoy when they do those kind of callbacks and bring people back in and kind of connect.
They did a lot of that
one.
in the first 10 minutes. They did a lot of that.
But
you had to pay attention to things.
But when you go back to the warehouse and you see the Ark, things like that,
was cool.
That was
awesome.
so cool.
Yeah, I mean, I love that kind of stuff. A couple of issues.
They brought the aliens.
Yeah, then they bring us the aliens. But even before that, the movie itself. Something about the way the movie was shot, something the way the production value of the movie didn't seem as strong as even the last one. Yeah. Like that whole scene.
Like I said, the CGI prairie dogs kind of gave it away
that whole thing, the ants, the red ants, all that CGI when you had people involved was
it
not strong.
It wasn't, it was
yes, and I think you're right, but we did better in 89. We did better in 89, which didn't have any real CGI. It was all practical shit, like the boat, the boat running between the boats. And they fucking launched that
might not have allocated a bunch of money. It was $185 million.
No, but what I'm saying is,
Skull.
because you had to have these aliens, you had to have all this CGI shit, because obviously how are you going to get the aliens to move without it? But prior to the aliens and their horrible CGI, the ant sequence and a lot of the other CGI sequences that they did have in there were weak. I would love to have seen them done more practical effects, maybe not the ants, but other stuff, more practical effects, because it really deterred from the movie.
Remember, this is what, 2000?
It was 18. This was 2008. So that's what I'm saying. CGI was not as strong as, let's say, today.
That's when CGI was
practical
still
effects.
Not that bad.
Yeah, no, it's in the 2000s.
But again, like you said, they probably didn't allocate enough for it or give it enough time. So my point is, the 89 movie of Last Crusade looked better of a movie production value, and they didn't do any of that shit.
So
it was all practical stuff.
Yeah.
So that's where I say, watching a boat explode. You don't fake that. You make the boat explode.
They did. You can fake it now easily, and it looks real, but they wouldn't have in this movie.
Right. So, but I think that's what it is. When we saw the movie, we saw the real life shit actually happening.
Yeah,
that has a different look, a different feel
always
to
will,
it.
Always does.
When you have the ants, it's that's where that balance is. It's like, they could have done a lot better with the ants, but
don't forget there was the whole
life
ants
stuff.
piling on top of each other to make this little ladder.
There's also the car chase scene.
Oh yeah,
total bullshit.
The killer ant scene.
The car chase scene was a bit much too.
Yeah, and so you could see
it was all CGI, and people just going like.
And you could tell,
to drive,
you could really see the green screen effect they were using, like how bad that was. And that's when the original, with him being dragged behind the truck, was all practical effects. It screwed up the stuntman, but it was still all practical effects. It looked better.
But a lot of times, practical effects are very good when compared to even mediocre CGI.
That's my point.
But so mediocre CGI is very expensive. And practical effects can be dangerous depending on whether you're dragging someone behind a car or something like that.
It's too late. They've already done it.
But you can really get some excellent effects just by really doing that thing. So I'm not surprised that they look better. But if you look at I know we talk a lot about budgets, and it's really interesting to look at these. So Indiana Jones and the first one, Raiders, $20 million budget.
Wow.
Which seems super low.
Wow.
But not in 81.
No,
well, 83, whatever
in
it was.
84, Superman 4 was what?
Was that 8? No, that
18 million.
It was 18 million.
Yeah, cut from like 40 million.
Yeah.
So like they made this on a shoestring and it came out awesome. And then
the first Indiana Jones, yes,
20 million on a shoestring with nothing,
with no CGI,
Right,
there was no real
a legendary movie.
Not to say that
legendary.
Not that Superman 4 had CGI per se. It was a lot of green screen, a lot of things like that.
Yeah, but it's still
But it's it's different. It's different. It's not like computer graphic animation like your brother does.
Right.
It's very different. But it's still like the practical stuff that they did in the first Superman movie. The practical stuff that they did in the first Indiana Jones blew it away. With less budget, they were able to pull off better visual stuff than in Superman 4.
Temple of Doom, $28 million.
Nice.
That was all spent on the fucking snakes and goddamn bullshit they were eating.
Why did it have to be snakes?
That whole bug area where she's reaching her hand to the that movie.
Yeah, but that made you feel gross. Though.
That's one of the reasons I hated that movie.
No,
they nailed it.
So good.
They nailed it. That's what they were going for.
It was a big stick bug. Ah!
You can feel it through the screen. You're like,
thinking of it makes
one of the reasons I hated that movie.
Crawling over
Ask
her
my
foot.
family.
Yeah, that whole movie, I was like, oh.
That's probably one of the reasons I hate bugs so much
Probably.
now.
Temple of Doom did that
my
too.
son now hates bugs. I'm like, oh shit, I put that
monkey
on.
brains.
That's one of the reasons why I hate people grabbing for my heart right now. Because I figure they're going to reach in and grab it away.
So just with a hand on my chest, like, you're gonna grab my heart.
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, $48 million. So jump from 28 to 48 for the
But
third
That was all Sean Connery.
And it was awesome.
That was just paying Sean Connery.
Yeah.
But that's still like
Still
a
reasonable.
lower. That's a reasonable
It's low.
amount. That's for what they've done. What they
even
did
for that
with
time,
that.
for 89.
That was awesome.
And then in the Crystal Skull, it jumped. Anyone want to guess?
210.
I think you said it 180 or something.
185, yeah. I said
And
already.
it doesn't show.
Oh my God.
And it's
It doesn't
major
show.
fail.
Yeah, it doesn't
terrible.
show.
But where do they spend the money
The
then?
CGI, but
the
they did it
CGI.
not well.
The sucky CGI.
You can spend a
that
lot of
everyone
money on
hated.
CGI and still make it look shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends who's
Especially
doing
if you
it.
hire,
But it was ILM.
CGI artists that aren't super skilled.
I know that, but it was
That's
ILM.
True. Yeah, that's true.
And not to say that it was
didn't have the
all
budget
ILM.
for
We
it.
know that ILM doesn't do everything. They have to farm a lot of it out to other companies. Delia will tell the same thing. Like, they can't all do everything.
Yeah.
They can't
Yeah.
do everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what the hell were they doing around that time?
No, every shot takes so much.
No,
If you
yeah.
look at the
No, the
list of the
explanation,
effects
yeah.
houses that do it, it's impossible for one effects house to get the movie out because they only have 10 months
limited
to a
amount of-
year, maybe at
Right.
best a good a year to finish the post production. It's not enough time to get everything done.
It takes weeks.
It takes multiple times
To, like, just do, like, a
shoot
small
like 4 or
part.
5 seconds.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
yeah. to render and do everything.
There's
So,
a
I
lot.
mean, that's where they
It's
spent a
insane.
lot of their money was on the CGI.
Yeah.
Which
Probably.
sucks because, again, you went to fucking aliens. My opinion on this movie, honestly, the first, before I watched it to do this podcast, I remember, hating this movie. I was like, that movie's absolute garbage.
Yeah.
I watched this movie and I got to the end of it and I changed my mind. I liked it.
This is what I wanna hear.
Except for everything that you guys have already hit. You literally said it. If it wasn't for the aliens, if they did something else, I would have liked this movie a lot more.
That and the nuking the fridge, yeah.
Yeah, the fridge.
So about that.
The fridge was bad.
That was
Fucking
bad.
load of
That was
garbage.
Lead-lined fridge.
What a Frigidaire full of shit.
My legit.
That's a physics problem.
So
Get the calculator.
when
That was bullshit.
so I'm watching this,
Bullshit in the
and
fridge.
I'm taking the notes as I'm watching it, and I'm liking all like the references. They got the warehouse, right? Warehouse 51, not to be, and it's like, warehouse area 51.
Yeah.
They make so that's when they start
I'm
doing
okay with that.
When they were doing those things, I was like, thank you for giving us that timeline. Now we know when this takes place.
Yeah.
That 1947 Air Force fiasco. It's like, oh shit, this is Roswell, New Mexico, aliens. So they've already foreshadowed the whole alien thing. And I was like,
Yes.
all right, so they're letting you know what this is all about.
Yeah.
And then I see the lead-lined fridge, and I literally have it in my notes going, lead-lined fridge, start of the, really? And that's when I thought that this movie was going to absolute shit the bed. Which it didn't for me. All this was a very much an Indiana Jones movie. And then you gave me Shia LaBeouf, and I was like, fuck you, Shia LaBeouf. And your Greaser versus Jocks fight in the soda pop, like, that sucked. There were definitely things about this movie that really bothered me. But I like a lot of the references. They walk down the hallway and you see the picture of the guy Marcus, the oil painting, which passed before this movie.
Yep.
I love that they did that. They gave
I love the
him
reference to his
And the
father
pictures
and
on
to
his
Marcus.
Right.
As
I
you
love how
don't ignore the past. You explain
they-
why they're not there.
Right, like I
appreciated that.
I liked how they brought back his girl.
Yeah.
I don't mind the fact that he has a kid now. It makes sense. I'm like, it was easily written off. Like, yeah, he stooped her 20 years ago. He left her. She's pissed. And now the reason why you use him as the catalyst to bring them back together is because his quote unquote father figure, Ox, right, which was friends with all of them, was in trouble, and he was like, yeah, Ox is in trouble. My mom wants to go and look for her. I was told that if anything happens, go find you, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
So I get that whole thing. The aliens. The aliens is completely what's, because that's what ruins it for me, and that's what again, when I got to the end of this movie, I sat there and I was like, this movie actually wasn't that bad. If you took the aliens out of it, added another lore to it, I'm a lot better with it. Now, granted, within the movie itself, there were certain things like the riddles that he solved were solved wicked quick. Yeah. Like, there wasn't a lot of
Batman.
It was very Batman-ish.
Right.
It's revenge. The answer is revenge.
It's like
Do we really need him? We needed him for this.
I mean, the riddles that he solved were relatively
that's a lot
quick.
of hot costume. We didn't need to do that.
Yeah, there was one part when they were in the cell, and like he was like, "Wait a minute, sweep the floor." And I'm like, what made you grab the broom to sweep the floor to go? Oh wait,
It's the same reason he went up high to see the X and the
and
third
that's
one.
what I had. I was like, that's a throw to the Crusades. But at least in the Crusades, he had the book, and he saw the numbers, and he happened to look up, and he was like, wait a minute, there's the 1 from the book.
Where's the 10?
Where's the 10? So that's
and
what
he knew
made
it was in the middle.
And so we see that one thing led to the other. In this one, I felt like nothing led to the next spot.
Yeah, you
it
didn't
was
have
like
the typical Indy figured it out in a cool way.
right.
Yeah.
So that kind of took it away from me. But again, essentially,
Say, Bruno. Bad writing.
it was
bad writing.
bad.
That's definitely,
it was
And
bad
that's the
writing.
thing. And that's the thing that blew my mind. Because I kept having to look on. Wait a minute. This was done by Lucas and fucking Spielberg. The writing on this shouldn't be this bad.
Yeah.
The writing was bad, but
I think it was like, they're not
Was
in
it
their prime
rushed?
anymore.
Was it rushed, maybe?
It might have been rushed. And
Rushed for a money grab?
They hadn't written this particular story in 20 years, right? Like, so they were like, do you remember him? Yeah, I remember him. Okay, well,
You have to get back into the character.
Yeah, when you're writing, you get into that headspace.
Harrison did, but
and
I
you
don't
become
think
that
the writers
character
did.
for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't think they got there. I don't think they captured the essence of Indy any longer. I think it was just too long out of the seat.
I don't think he would have gotten the fridge.
But hold on. But during that time, though, right? Didn't they feel that if you protected yourself in lead, it could like help you through the fucking.
In the 50s,
They might have
maybe.
felt that way.
that's what I'm saying.
It would've
They
worked.
taught kids to
50s.
duck and
Right,
cover.
and when
to,
does this
like,
movie take
avoid
place?
this, so-
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but
that might be the way they felt. Doesn't mean it's the way it works.
They
the
wrote this
fridge
movie-
gets nuked and just gets thrown out of the city.
They wrote
And
it
he
in
lands,
50s Indy,
right,
50s
with
Indy would
barely
have thought that was a good
scuff.
idea.
Yeah.
But
Physics doesn't work like that.
Doesn't work that way.
2008, George Lucas and
Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg, they know that's not going to work.
So why put it in
Why
there?
do
Right?
that, right? If they did do that, he should have just been like, just a bunch of blood that's sort of poured out of the fridge once it's done moving.
Credits.
Yeah, it literally, but that's exactly right. My wife and I joke about this all the time. Whenever something really dumb or just should have ended differently ends, it should just end, go black, and just roll credits.
So
it should have been like, I could get him this fridge, and he gets in, and then boom, and then it just
roll
lands,
credits.
and they just roll. Roll credits. And then that's the
end. Everybody get out.
That's the end of the movie. You guys can all go home because clearly he died.
Right? Slightly singed.
Yeah.
Rolls away, and Shia picks it up, and off we go.
I mean, there's so much wrong with that fridge scene.
They go, man, you really fell for the line fridge thing, huh?
He would have been moshed up. He would have been like a.
Can't believe he fell for that.
And then he definitely would have been radiated. And like, it's just.
Yep.
And then nuclear winter. Like all
when
of
they
that.
do atom bombs wrong or hydrogen bombs wrong, it always gets to me. I'm like, this isn't just a big bomb. This is like something that doesn't just go boom. It goes boom and then kills you in several different ways.
Yeah, and then
at the same time.
And if you survive the original one,
you get cancer.
You get like 92 hours to definitely die. Yeah. There's no surviving that. Where he's at.
Again,
and a refrigerator's not going to do that.
No fridge. No fridge.
No fridge.
But
no fridge.
You're forgetting the very important fact. It was lead lined and it's
magic.
And it's Frigidaire.
It's magic.
You're right.
That's an advertisement.
Yeah. It was kind of cool in there.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
sell me that fridge now.
There's definitely parts like that I was just like,
plan on getting nuked anytime soon.
Maybe?
Oh my god, it would have been amazing.
Where do you live?
I would have had more respect if they had just ended at the fridge and it just like black and then it just like roll credits.
And then the end credit scene is the rest of the movie with Shia LaBeouf.
With Shia LaBeouf talking about, and he's like, can you believe he got into a fridge?
Yeah, right?
He thought it would save him.
They're like, damn, really? That's how he was?
I thought he was smart.
Yeah.
I thought you said he was smart.
I mean,
he just doesn't know that. He knows about history. He doesn't know that much about
bombs. You get in the
bombs.
fridge. If that's all you have, you get in there.
I mean, look, it was either, couldn't get into the fake car and drive away.
Right,
so,
right.
And again, there were a lot of like little things like that. But I think it was. I expected.
It's Indy. You survived in an Indy way,
right? So it's like I went into this movie thinking,
brush the dust off. You know,
he just like roll under a closing door and pull the hat back.
I mean,
it's not a nuclear bomb.
You know what?
He closed the door and pulled the hat back.
Yeah, so he closed it. He closed his door. I mean, I didn't expect a lot out of this.
My heart.
I really, really, truly didn't. So when I saw the stupid things like that, or just the bad CGI, to me, I was like, that's really bad CGI. Because there's definitely a lot of points.
That scene was so bad that I laughed out loud.
Yeah.
Like when I saw it, I literally I was like, oh my god, I can't believe they just did that.
Yeah,
I was
so
like,
they won.
They didn't, did
they? They did.
I didn't just watch that happen, did I?
Not only did they, but you
Rewind.
watch it, you enjoyed it, and you laughed at it and said, this is ridiculous. I'm going to keep watching.
Yeah.
So it won.
I need to see what else he's done.
Like, I got to see where this goes next.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're
What
there.
in the world?
I mean, why not?
You're there.
Where did it go next? Aliens.
Aliens. So again,
this will be dumb, but I can't wait to see what more dumb stuff they do.
Like, I don't know.
What was it? 08? 08 it came out? So we were probably Netflixing it with the CDs delivered to your house. You know, kids, that's the way Netflix used to be.
That's right.
CD-ROMs.
Yep.
Those are old
I was probably still
discs.
going to Blockbuster at that
and
time.
depending
DVD
on
burners
used to get delivered to your house.
and depending on which membership you had, it was either 1 DVD or 3 DVDs.
Yes.
7.
7? It was a 7 DVD one?
7 DVDs?
There was a 5 and a 7. I had the 7. I would just take them, burn them, and then send them back.
No, because then they upgraded because because when I first started,
I don't remember the 7. In the very beginning, it was 1 or 3.
Yeah,
maybe they added all those later.
They added 7 eventually.
Oh, and then you had the Red Box. Redbox, that's when Redbox started jumping out.
I never used Redbox.
I've used Redbox.
What convenient.
Redbox, Blockbuster. I used to use. Actually, I'd go to the library and get movies there.
You had a Blockbuster?
Was Redbox like a physical thing?
Yeah.
Because they have one at the supermarket.
That's what Redbox is.
Redbox is the supermarkets, yeah.
I know, but that's ridiculous.
Usually.
I don't have time for that.
But it was great because you could drop it off at any Redbox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't have to go back to the one you got it from.
So
we can.
I get that. I get that.
Awesome.
No, Netflix was better because it came to your house.
It came to your house, yeah.
They just drop it in the mail and see ya.
But I was much more of a go out and do things because we weren't. My family wasn't really tech savvy, so we didn't order like anything online. Back in like that time, we definitely just went out and did stuff.
Fingers crossed that statute of limitations run out.
No, but
Those are all gone now. But
I remember there was one I had to order 3 times because it kept coming cracked. I think it was Matrix.
Those
It might have been
bastards.
Matrix.
We should.
It would
I
deliver.
watched it and
It
owned
was like
that.
in the wintertime, and it
Literally.
would show up, and I was like,
Oh, 'cause it was so
that's
cold.
busted. Yeah, because it would crack on the way in, so you'd send it back, and then send another one, and send it back.
How did you not own a Matrix, though? Like, I feel like that's a movie
Well, by
that
then you should have
everybody
just bought
owns.
it.
I probably should
I didn't own it, but I owned a lot of other movies.
Oh,
but
man, Matrix was great.
Awesome movie. Awesome
Fucking
movie.
great.
I owned way too many.
I mean, yeah. Oh my god, that's.
I owned way too many movies, so much so that I had a program on my computer to catalog them all. Shut up. And I would literally had all of it. Just scan the back of the box with the barcode, and it was just everything. It had it was like an entire IMDb on a program. I can't remember what it's called. And I had it on my laptop, and I knew every movie I owned. And if you borrowed one, I would rent it out to you. And it knew, because I had your email or whatever else, it would tell okay, Larry has your DVD, took it on this date. And then if you didn't return it in a week, it would send you an email.
No way.
Oh my
So
God.
if my buddy Ronnie said, even my buddy Ronnie borrowed a
future.
movie.
No.
I forget which movie he borrowed, and it sent him an email. He's like, "You're a fucking dork." he replied back to the automated email, "You're a fucking dork." I still don't think I ever saw the movie again. By the way, I don't think he ever returned it. Yeah,
Like that'll be 99 cents.
yeah. It's like, dude, you have my movie. You return it.
I'll charge you.
I watched this because somebody had the box set
I have
of
the
all
box set.
4 of them.
I have the box set of all.
Wait, which ones? Which
The
ones?
Cr-
No, I have
Crystal
the box set
Skull.
of 3. I have.
Oh, I have
the original box set of 3.
I have like a DVD box, but like it's not really a box. It's like the one case with all 4 of them in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Just
box
crammed
set.
in there. Oh, it is? Okay,
it's a
I have
box
the
set.
box set of all
Sort
4
of
of them.
maroon leather type looking cover.
Well,
boxes like
so
that.
sometimes they just did just like the generic ones.
Yeah.
That they would just take the 4 movies, put them in like a super slim sleeve
Yeah, yeah,
case, put all 4 of them like in a small like cardboard box, like however
Yeah.
it fits for them. It's not like the official box set that you could get like the.
I had the official of the 3 though.
Okay, so it's like they would have like the official box sets where it's like this great artwork on the cover
Yeah.
and this and that. But then you probably bought like go to Walmart or whatever.
Yeah, I got the Walmart version. I got,
Yeah,
like,
and
the
it's like,
DVD,
hey, you
all
buy
4
4 of them for
movies,
like
plus a
$5.99.
bonus disc for
Sure.
bonus stuff. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, sick.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I hadn't watched that one yet, though.
I think that's actually how I saw this because I had no intentions. Again, when I first saw this, I was like, Shia LaBeouf, I'm not a fan of. The whole aliens thing, like that's another thing. For me, they're like zombies.
Yeah.
I don't. Except for
depends
the
on the
original movie
context for
Aliens,
me.
which was awesome because that was a horror flick. It was a like sci-fi horror flick. But when it comes to like shit like this, I'm just not the biggest fan of it. So it took me a while to watch
Yeah.
this movie. And when I did, I think I was more upset because it had aliens in it. Again, it wasn't very.
It was disappointing as like a long-standing Indiana Jones fan watching like that. A, this movie be crap, and then
Yeah.
B, like have it become something that it just isn't, which is an alien movie. You know, just slowly
Yeah,
like,
aliens don't have
watching
any-
this happen. It's like
they don't
it's
have any
disappointing.
space in this world. It should have been.
Yeah.
It should have been all ancient.
Should have been the Mayans,
That's
the
just-
Incas,
yeah.
the
Some
Aztecs,
such,
something
right.
like
Right.
that. You know,
That's my point. That was my point.
So
that-
watching
He's
it was
literally an
just
archaeologist.
disappointing.
You could have blamed that on anything historically and sort of made it kind of work. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't have to be fucking aliens.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if there was any, there's always like some sort of weird like mystic part of it, you know, like this unexplainable force, and usually it's almost like a religious type, you know.
I mean, Temple of Doom, they literally pulled the guy's heart
yeah,
out.
literally.
So you could have done
It's always
something.
a slightly religious like
Yeah.
thing where it comes from, and
Yeah.
then all of
Yeah.
a sudden there's like, oh, where did this sci-fi come from?
Yes, that's right. It went sci-fi, and I was like, this is not the right place
Yeah,
for that.
Instead of like a
that's-
slight fantasy taste
Yeah,
of
it
it,
was-
there's
it was
like,
Indiana Jones in
why is
space.
there a
It doesn't make any
UFO
sense.
flying
Yeah.
away?
Yeah.
And that was
It never made
I
any
mean,
sense to me. Indiana Jones in space. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
it
you're
just
coming off
went
the
too
Last
well.
Crusade, which is the.
But it's all down
It's
to
like
earth
cowboys
shit.
and aliens
You,
type
you
crap,
set up
you
this
know?
world
You're
of
like,
very
"Ugh."
down to earth shit.
Yeah.
And the 4th movie, you make it aliens.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a terrible
it's-
choice.
It was a really bad choice. It
Yeah.
really was. You know, when you have all, like you said, the religious stuff, very realistic things, and the ways he gets through things like
There's
the map
so many
room
things
and all that
they
kind
could
of
have
stuff.
reached out for, and they went aliens. And it's like, that's lazy writing. Oh, we'll just make it an alien thing, and then there's nobody knows what aliens look like, so you can make a movie whatever the fuck you want.
So it was,
and it's gone.
It's funny that you say that because I written down on my notes saying The alien skulls. Why do the alien skulls look so human, except for like exaggerated things? Like they have regular teeth. Like if you looked at the skull itself, except for like the big exaggerated eyes, if you don't see the back, it looks like just a regular human skull.
Yeah.
But now when you look at it, it's got the exaggerated eyes. You hold it to the side. It's got the long back headpiece. So it's like, oh,
I didn't have too much of qualm of the shape. I actually thought, like one of the things, the one good thing about the alien premise, I thought the skull looked really cool.
Well, it looked
but
like
that's
the alien
where it
from
stopped.
Aliens.
I was like, oh wow,
Yeah,
this
it
is
looked
kind of
like
cool.
a xenomorph. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we
I
go.
think
Thank
as
you.
a general rule, humans, when we think of aliens, we don't think of weird shaped things. We think of humanoid kind of things. Like you look at
Yeah.
your typical like Roswell,
Like the gray alien, you know?
Yeah, it's like it's just got a bigger head because it's supposed to be much smarter.
So
and
you have
then
this big brain,
big
yeah.
eyes, and small little mouth. And so like, I think you see that a lot. And so I think they just chose a look for the alien that was kind of familiar.
Yeah, it's humanoid.
Yeah.
Very humanoid with just an extended skull.
It was something that screamed alien to someone, you know, and goes,
Yeah.
whoa, that's an alien.
Yeah,
You know?
all right.
It just would have made more sense if it was
Yeah.
a different religion who
Something
had made
different.
these crystal things.
Yeah, like Aztec, Mayan,
and you could,
anything.
Yeah.
And
you know,
that's-
if at the end of the day they thought it was alien, but like the Aztecs, or they thought, but it really wasn't. You know what I
Right.
mean? It was just their religion. They did it for a different reason to fool people or whatever, and just brought it around to the fact that they thought it was alien, but it turned out not to be
It's
alien.
not an
That's
alien.
what I was
Yeah.
really
That
hoping
would've-
to God
if you
happened.
had
that
to
was
fake
that.
more
If you
Indian.
had
Yeah.
Yeah.
faked the alien, I would have been like, oh, okay, cool. It's not actually an alien.
Yeah.
It's a whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and that was a manufactured skull because they made it to try to
fool people
Yeah.
to
That
so they
would've
could
been-
do their
I could've
sacrifices
swallowed
or
that, yeah.
swindle
You know?
everybody from the money because it was the whole
Yeah.
what
They
do you
still
do?
could have pulled it
the-
back.
Yes.
was it
They still
Cortez
had
or whoever
a
like who needed
chance.
one of them? It was basically the lost city of gold. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
so they were protecting their gold by making like the aliens go
Finding
to like their
El Dorado.
scarecrows.
Yeah, right.
You know
Steer
what I
them
mean?
away.
Yeah.
The,
And it really
the
wasn't.
locals don't know.
Yeah, the locals are not intelligent enough. They're not educated enough to understand that this is just a scarecrow.
Right,
They're just
right.
trying to keep you away from their gold.
Tourists.
You know what I
about,
mean? Tourists. So you know what I mean? Like that would have been better to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That would
That
have
was something I was
Rather than
really hoping it
goddamn
turned to.
spaceship.
It would have kept it grounded in the Indiana Jones world.
Yeah.
So for me, this movie, it really, really lost me in the final couple of minutes. Like that's where for me, just it goes completely off the deep end. Like you were saying, Bruno, like you're getting your Indiana Jones movie for like 80%, 70, anywhere between 70 to 80% of this movie is a straight Indiana Jones movie with a couple of like, come on, man,
It's in
really?
the right genre.
Like it's in
Yeah.
the right, like
Even
Shia
the
LaBeouf
Bob
swinging with
one,
monkeys.
you know.
I lost that shit. Like you want about the CGI
That-
with
oh
the
my
ants.
God, yeah.
So yeah, so the CGI
monkey scene.
F off with the killer ants. Even though some of them was kind of funny, but like you said, like they build like this. Now they're smart ants, right? Like they built this little tower to get onto the person's foot, right?
Give me 5 fingers. Give me 5 fingers.
Although some spiders
Really?
do that. No,
Some-
there are ants that do
mean,
that. They
I-
make whole bridges of themselves. So I wasn't shocked. That's not out of
that they
range.
can. I thought it was kind of like okay, whatever.
For me, it was the monkey scene.
But then it got to the monkey scene, and I went, wait a
I
minute,
almost
time to
forgot about the
fuck
monkey
out.
scene, yeah.
That
No,
one,
I wrote
I
that
had
shit
to-
down.
I had to,
Swings
like, look
with
away.
monkeys. I was like, come on, man.
I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this
it
right
is-
now.
Come on, I was expecting like the monkeys like start throwing
That
shit
was
at him.
definitely ridiculous, but I flipped the table when the aliens showed up.
yeah,
that
yeah.
was that was like flip the fucking table.
Yeah, and the
This is
temple turning
bullshit.
into
Yeah.
a spaceship.
Yeah.
Come on,
It started to
man.
really lose
You
me. Like
look
once
back.
you see the alien body, they're like, oh no, we've recovered the body of one, and you go, really? And then they uncover it, and I go, oh,
dang
it is an alien.
Yeah.
fuck.
Oh, that's
You look
weird.
back at the other three, there's obviously some outlandish shit that happens.
Yeah. Mhm.
But nothing to this degree. Nothing to
Yeah,
the
again,
monkey
it's that taste
swinging.
of fantasy, you know?
Yeah,
that taste
it's a
ooh,
little
maybe
bit of
the
like this is
mysteries
an
are real.
adventure, right? It's a high adventure of things that don't really happen, but it's just still grounded in some kind of reality. And then
Yeah.
it took it to this one with the monkeys and the ants
Yeah.
and the fucking aliens.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it pushed the envelope too far on too many things. Like you're really making us suspend disbelief for too much of this movie, too many times, not just the aliens.
No.
The
Yeah.
nuking the fridge, all that stuff. Like
The
they
monkeys.
just, it's just
There's too many of
too
those.
many pushing the envelopes to make this aha wow factor moment of like this shit can never happen. Look at this adventure they're going through. They're superheroes. I mean, they're basically like
Yeah.
superheroes in this
I mean,
movie.
you know, it's funny.
Indiana Jones was never like a superhero.
No.
He's just like
No.
a guy who's an archaeologist who kind of got lucky. In the first movie, he basically says, "I'm just making this shit up as I go
Yeah.
along." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
praying praying to God I get this right and I don't, kill myself. You know what I mean? Like all 3 movies, it's that. It's just like
kind of him
luck of the
almost
drawers.
going, oh shit, is this? Oh no, cool, he got it. But he came really close.
That was a close one.
Yeah.
And, believe it or not, I didn't mind like the car fight chase scene that they had.
I like the swords like on the cars.
That's cool.
Yeah, so again, like
fights.
cool, like little spots like that. I was like, all right,
I'll take that.
It just looked really janky.
Yeah, it looked bad.
Well, again, you have to think about it. I mean,
I know it's 2008, though,
right? But his thing, it's Harrison Ford, and he's kind of old at 2008.
He
right?
wasn't doing most of the sword
He
fighting.
wasn't even driving.
No,
He
but when he's like fighting, he's going from one car to another. When he's going from the Jeep back to the boat car, when he's jumping stuff like that. Yeah, so it's like you can almost see the
that's when you use a
double.
stuntman.
But you could kind of see it, and you're like, oh. And I think that's why you got a lot of Shia LaBeouf doing a lot of action scenes and so you see them kind of going at because
you needed somebody to do action.
You need action in this
because
you can't do it. You're right, because you can't do it with him. So I think that's some of that
this
stuff.
This is 2008. Can you imagine what 5 is going to be?
I have no idea what I mean.
Like 20 years later.
I hope it's just him sitting in a seat, smoking a pipe,
talking about the old
reading
stories.
a book, and tells you a story.
Honestly,
right?
best case scenario.
I love that. And then you see it like, yeah. And you see
what the
like,
hell is that? I don't know what happens when I talk about the past.
You see like a little cloud, then you zoom into the cloud, and then it's like someone else playing Indiana.
Then it's another movie. So
it's another movie.
So wait a minute. So now it's either a continuation or a reboot.
No, this would be 5. This would be
this would fit.
Okay,
you know.
all right.
And then at the end they go, "Grandpa, you're always saying funny stories," and he goes, "Well, it's happened. Go to bed."
Right. There's a little 5-year-old kid.
Talks about
Grandpa. Tell me about the
artifact that he's chasing, and they don't believe him. At the end of the day, he fucking pulls it out. Like, I still have it.
And then he like reminisces as they go to bed.
Do a Freemasons one.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
But like, it's got to go. It's got to go back to before Crystal Skull. I don't want to see his adventure after Crystal Skull because at this point I don't give a shit. I want to see him. I want to see, like you said, a younger guy playing Indy prior to, even if it's before Raiders.
Yeah, just
a younger Indiana Jones.
So basically,
that was clearly not his first adventure.
Actually, you know what would be really cool?
That was the first adventure we saw. It wasn't necessarily his first adventure.
Right. So we see the beginning, like Bruno said, of him going, "Let me tell you a story," and and
which doesn't want to talk about the past. That's a Johnny Dangerous.
Johnny Dangerous.
Yeah,
love that movie.
The hell is that? Oh, sorry, those that want to talk about the past. It'll go away in a second.
So you said that they tried to do the TV show, right? The Young Adventures.
Yeah, the Chronicle Indiana Jones Chronicles.
That didn't take off. So maybe
it did well actually for like 1 or 2 seasons.
Well, maybe they do something like that. So it's a younger one. They do this movie and then they try to relaunch you use this as a launch pad to relaunch the Chronicles.
Because people have wanted it to come back. People really enjoyed it. People have wanted that show to come back.
I mean, look, the story of this guy is really cool. Like, it's fun. I think it kind of tugs on a lot of people's different strings of curiosity as far as
wished for adventure. You know,
yeah, adventure.
The important part, though, would be to really nail the actor. You have to get somebody who, Harrison Ford
gives off that vibe.
Harrison Ford had a swag that didn't run very popularly. Like, there weren't a lot of people with that kind of swag. He was kind of. He had some super confident, but he was a little bit of a ladies' man. But he was, he was just like, I got this. He had a little bit of a smirk. He was a little bit of a wise guy, a little bit of a trickster.
2 seasons.
He carried that attitude so well.
I'm trying. As you're talking, I'm trying to think. Like,
I don't know right now who that would be.
Yeah,
it would be hard to recast.
Cast him as put the Rock in it. No.
Oh my god.
No.
Put him in the same same outfit.
I mean, you got to do the same outfit.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, we actually see that in the Last Crusade.
Right. So the guy who played young Indy was Sean Patrick Flannery from the Boondock Saints.
Oh, really?
Yeah. One of the brothers.
Yeah. No, I know. He also he plays. No, I can't think.
He's Connor. Sure. He's Connor McManus. But he played young Indy in that show for 2 seasons.
But the other movie
really well.
He was in Powder.
Powder. Yep, that's right. He was Powder.
I was trying to think.
So probably not a good idea to pull him back because he obviously didn't resonate.
I mean, he did 2 seasons, and it was really well received. I forget exactly why it stopped.
It's probably
Was it?
financial.
I mean, of course it's financial. If you're not pulling the
yeah,
viewership.
I think it was expensive to make. If I remember, it was sort of like they put a lot into it. Like financially, they put a lot into it.
You got to
like,
pull the
make
viewers. You got to get the viewers.
Yeah, they just didn't get the viewers at the time. Just didn't happen.
Either the writing or the acting, one of those two, really.
Yeah.
Right?
He's not that bad of an actor.
No, I'm saying he just might not have nailed.
I mean,
that
yeah.
look,
He didn't nail that perfect.
swag.
Well, I'm
Harrison
wondering
Ford.
if you try to do something like that, right, based on a movie that is by all means, a cult fan, whatever favorite. It's a super favorite, right? So like you want that actor to emulate or actually.
So like Ewan McGregor nailed Obi-Wan.
Nails
Yes.
Obi-Wan, yeah.
Right, like that's the kind of guy you got to get another actor that nails Harrison Ford's younger self.
But here's the thing, though, right? I don't. So okay, all right. So Ewan McGregor nails Obi-Wan. He didn't nail Alec Guinness. Like nobody really could. I mean, nobody was like, "Oh my God, Alec Guinness! He made me feel Obi-Wan."
No, but he did.
He takes on the role of Obi-Wan.
He did,
great.
but he also did Alec Guinness well.
He did some of his mannerisms.
He pulled the mannerisms.
Yeah.
He studied the hell out.
Like as well as you could expect, right? He filled that role sufficiently, but you were like, yeah,
He did the research. He did the work.
Right. But what I'm saying though is,
you want somebody like that.
We fell in love with Harrison Ford's Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Anybody that gets cast as a young Indy, we are going to hold to that.
Yeah,
kingdom.
that's why Solo
Okay.
sucked. I think that actor is a good actor. He didn't nail young
Right,
Indiana
because that's
Jones.
the idea that we have. So that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like when you said Ewan
Harrison
McGregor,
Ford.
I mean, Ewan McGregor, even though I've seen Alec Guinness, to me, he is Obi-Wan. Alec Guinness is the old guy
He's
with the
there
robe.
for, like,
I don't know.
20
I mean,
minutes.
I grew up with Alec Guinness, so for me, I feel I feel like Ewan McGregor did a good job representing Alec Guinness as Obi-Wan, but that's neither here nor there. At least everybody can pretty much agree that he did a good job representing that character as a younger version.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm looking for. That's all I'm looking for, somebody to represent the same kind of swagger that Harrison Ford had when he was playing the younger Indiana.
Right, but
Exactly.
Somebody with that kind of feel.
We need
right?
someone with that
we
vibe.
need someone to be like that
it's a
because
vibe,
even
it's
if he slips just a little bit, they were like, no, that's not Harrison Ford. That's
Yeah.
not Indy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like
It has to be spot on.
It's got to be a 90%
And it's
match or
possible.
This
better.
particular character,
But it's gonna
it needs to be dead on in order for people.
It's also not an easy swagger to match, I think.
Right.
Yes.
It's a different.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of it.
So the problem becomes you're doing another one, right? We're doing a 5th one. So now, when can you jump in somebody else into the role? Because we still
Should be
remember
now. I don't want to see Harrison Ford again.
No. What I'm saying is sometimes there's a school of thought of like you need this property to be dormant for a very long time before somebody will buy in to another version of Indy that's not Harrison Ford.
Yeah, I think now's a good one. If you were to do a Harrison Ford now, you got to wait like another 10 or 15
That's
years.
what I'm saying. Because they're doing 5. 5's they're doing it.
But that's what I'm saying.
So
They
that
make
might be a mistake. You
I think it's a
can't.
mistake.
It's going to be a long
take that back.
time after he goes because they're kicking it up again with him. So it's going to be a long time before they can reboot with somebody else.
I think a good take on this
2008
one,
to like now or a little beyond would have been enough time.
but a good take on this would be for him to hand over the mantle now in this
Yes.
movie, right? So
Yeah.
maybe it's another son, or maybe it's somebody, a colleague, or somebody he takes under
other
his
son.
wing,
Yeah.
right? And he's
Yeah.
like, hey, you know what? Let me show you some of the ropes, and this guy's
Maybe it is
got some of
grandson or
that
something like
swag or some of that movement, some of that look that it carries through, and you can be like, all right, I could see him picking it up and running with it.
Or
This is a good opportunity. I hope they do something good like that. I think.
Or you do what we said. You do old Indy reading the book reading a story or telling a story to his grandson who's young, right? Who gets so in love with the story he wants to become the next Indy. So now the next movie 6, it can be anybody. Because
Sure.
that little kid has now grown up.
Well, like
And we don't know who he is
you're
grown up yet. We
continuing it
haven't seen him.
generationally. So,
Yeah.
I mean, at that point,
Played
then
by
you
You're not
Tom
making him a
Holland.
kid. You're making that little kid older.
Right. So you're not.
Just don't do a Hayden
It's-
Christensen.
it's-
He's too
different-
Tom Holland's too innocent.
I know. No, it's like
No,
God.
he did
I
that-
really
he did
hope
that
they
Far
don't
Cry
pull
movie.
that.
It's like, eh.
No, Uncharted.
I'm sorry,
Uncharted.
excuse me.
Yeah.
Uncharted, you're right. Uncharted.
I just don't think he'd be right.
no, I don't think
I
so.
like him.
I do
just
too,
don't
but
I like him. I really hope they don't.
But if you
I
do,
think Indy had more confidence. Like Tom Holland, we've seen as Spider-Man, and Spider-Man without the suit is not very confident. Peter Parker is not a super confident person.
Well, that's the character. So you're used to Tom Holland
that's
being that
you
character.
kind of typecast him a little bit.
But I think
he's been Peter Parker now, Spider-Man for a while now.
But here's the thing,
I
though.
just don't think he has the right vibe, though.
I think it's
his,
fine.
His whole stance, like you see him, you look at him, and you go.
Yeah, the way he stands.
Everything about his energy.
Yeah.
It's not the right one.
No, he's an innocent, nice guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like he has that chiseled, hardened, like Indy is kind of hardened through all the shit he's gone through.
And you
Tom
can
Holland
tell he gives off that energy, he gives off that air. Even Harrison Ford just standing there, you're like, oh my God.
Harrison's got BDE, right? Like, he's...
But case in point, River Phoenix did do a good...
River Phoenix would have been a good fit.
Yeah.
He did a good job.
He did a good job.
He did a great job.
As a young Indy, he kind of had that chiseled... My father's kind of a dick, so I've had to kind of bring myself up.
Yeah.
Mom's gone. I kind of know
He did a great
how to
job.
get my shit in trouble, but get out and do what I need to do
Yeah.
and take care of business, because that was River Phoenix. But he was always like that.
He was.
From,
He was
you know what I
actually...
mean? From
Stand By Me.
That was
Thank
him.
you.
That was who he was.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So
You need somebody like that. And
I mean, that's not Tom Holland.
I can't think
And
of
I
a lot
love
of
Tom
young
Holland, but
actors
that's
that
not
have
him.
that.
Absolutely not, no.
Not off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's plenty.
But
I'm sure there's some
this
out
is
there.
where my question was. It's if you do a movie and it's supposed to be a young Indy, that's going to be wicked tough because we want Indy.
Yeah.
That's who we want.
You have to find a River
You
Phoenix.
better, you need to find. Now, if he does a continuation, I don't care if the new Indy is like it could be like you said, it could be whoever. I don't care. It doesn't have to be the Indiana Jones that we grew up with because this is now a continuation. It's his grandkid. He could be soft as.
This movie is a young Jake Lloyd that hopefully does not grow up to be Hayden Christensen. As later on, it's be the Indy we're going to go for in 6, 7, and 8. You know what I mean?
Right. So I mean,
he's now
they
passed
do,
baton to his grandkid who listened to his stories as Indy, and now is taking up the mantle. You see at the end of the movie, he puts the fucking hat. He's a little kid.
Yeah,
the
sure.
hat doesn't quite fit right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you can kind of foreshadow the fact that he puts the hat on. He picks his head up like Indy does.
Then you can
know what I
see.
mean?
Then you can see, and you slap it off his head. And they take that off.
That's mine.
I know, right?
He does it right at the end of the last
but that
one.
would be great.
At the end of Christmas
Yeah.
Stone at the wedding, he's like, no, not yet. He takes the hat. He's like, no, you haven't earned that yet. And he takes the hat back from Shia
which is
LaBeouf.
funny because he got that hat from a bad guy.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's where we got the hat from.
Yeah, from the guy in Last Crusade.
I thought he was going to pull one of those, like, whip
Phoenix?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
like the grab the wife with the whip sort of thing. He used his whip, like, once in the whole movie.
It wasn't a lot.
Well, because he had to steal it from the other person. Like, he didn't even, like, really have it. He was like, hey, you got a whip. And he used the
I don't
whip.
know that there are a lot of like useful points where I wish I had a whip.
Well, that's
But
kind of the
Lord-
character.
Lord
If I only had a whip right now,
Lord, does he make you think
get
that,
my pencil
though?
off the
You know?
desk 30 feet away.
I mean, how many
swing.
vines are you, so many branches are you swinging from?
Yeah.
These
Well,
days?
listen, if you constantly put yourself in that circumstance, in that position, you're like, all right, I have a whip, but I can only travel to jungles where I can use it. That's where I'm going to find all my shit.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to just keep going to the Amazon,
It was
I guess.
a necessary tool for where he kept going.
Yeah.
To deal with the stuff he was dealing with.
He had
You
a
know what
whip
I mean?
and a gun.
Yeah.
And you know
satchel.
what? That's
And a
all he
satchel.
needed. That's all he needed.
That's all I need.
I mean,
That's it.
He was like,
I
your
need
parents...
my paddle game.
My paddle and this chair.
This chair and this whip and this satchel.
Do you guys
And
know
the
what I'm talking
hat-
about?
The jerk.
From the jerk.
That's the
Blue
jerk,
Wire
yeah.
jerk.
I need my dog. I guess I don't need my. Come here, shithead. I guess I don't need my dog.
So, I mean, overall, I didn't mind this movie. Not as much as I remember disliking it. There were definitely parts in it that fucking pissed me off. Again, the aliens. It always goes back to the aliens. You could have stayed with more religious artifacts, because Lord knows there's a fucking million of them.
Right. That was my point.
the
You
first
couldn't
one-
have gone.
yeah,
Mysterious,
the first three
orange
movies-
mystic
I wouldn't have gotten
powers.
tired of another one.
Yeah,
You know
I mean,
what
the first
Yeah.
three movies
Okay.
was all about religious artifacts.
And they weren't
So
like
you
the
could've won
first
again.
one. The first one and the third one were Catholic, Christian origin. The second one was not.
Right, you could have
So
done...
there's a million different religions and
Well, that's
things
religious.
with artifacts
Any
that
kind
you
of
could
religious
have gone
fucking
into.
artifact.
Absolutely.
Would have been
Absolutely.
fun, and especially in this day and age. I mean, well, granted, it was 2008, but it's okay. It didn't have to be.
2008 was only, what, 12 to 14 years ago?
Yeah.
It's not like
I
it
know.
was like forever ago.
No,
Yeah, there's-
but there could have
right.
there's a million different religious
but what I'm
artifacts from
saying-
different religions that he could have been going
He
after.
could, and it would have been accepted by the masses. Like, maybe back in
been
the
an
80s, you can't
Aztec.
talk about certain ones. And you're like, I don't want to. 2008. It's like talk about whatever religion you want.
I
put
would
it on
have an
screen.
issue if he was going after the City of Gold. Like,
Yeah,
that's the
honestly.
thing, and
That would've been cool.
That's
That
where he was
alone.
going.
Yeah.
That's where they were. I mean, that's basically what was happening, but they made that city there because the aliens were there.
Yeah.
And the whole
Yeah.
thing was the spaceship.
Yeah.
It didn't need to happen. All that could have been
Couldn't just
eliminated.
find
and
El Dorado.
could have find El Dorado, and then maybe it sank or did something because it was some sort of trap that makes it cover itself
Yeah.
in case somebody finds it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Like what they did
Anything
with the,
other than aliens taking their spaceship away.
Chalice.
And that thing where they're standing there.
Talk about the Lord's Cup.
The Lord's Cup. The Holy Grail.
Holy Grail.
Holy Grail,
Yeah, like what they did with the Holy Grail. They're like, you can't take it outside. And
Yeah.
she goes, I'm going to take it outside. And then the whole place crumbles
Don't
in.
take the grail from here. But
I
the whole
can
that
reach
whole
it.
bullshit of
I can get
standing
it.
there. They're standing
Let it
there
go.
in that archway as the ship is swirling around, and they're just watching it. Well, that's pretty.
They're like, damn,
I am
that's
sorry.
been out of my
The
You
pay
don't
moment-
get caught up in that tornado at all.
The moment that like the aliens started like blending into
Bruno,
into
give us
one
the physics
alien.
on that swirl, that tornado that just happened in there.
what's
How
the
would have
math
sucked
behind
their
that?
asses
Well,
right in?
everybody did.
Would have sucked their asses right into it.
Absolutely, they would have gotten caught in the vortex and
Everybody
see you
did.
later.
That's the same cow.
Roll credits.
Roll
You
credits.
forgot those same cow.
Is that different? Guess another cow. No, I think it's the
That
same
same
cow.
cow. It's another shit movie.
Twister?
Oh god, that movie sucked.
I like Twister.
Yeah,
Twister.
yeah, you did.
Loser.
I like Twister.
Move
Yeah,
on.
you did. Yeah, you both did.
Yeah, you didn't.
Yeah, that's right. I fucking didn't. And the ride at Universal was even worse.
There was a ride at Universal for
Yeah,
Twister.
want to see what the ride is?
You know, it's an audio
He's
podcast.
standing
All right,
up and
for
he's
those-
looking around.
For those who
He
are
must be-
Lights,
not
Hands
seeing
on his
Larry.
flash, lightning. Brrr. Thank you for coming. And that was it.
What,
Thank
really?
you for giving us your money. Bugger
That's
off.
horrible.
There'll be a picture of you really bored that you can purchase on your way
so
out.
the quote-unquote Twister ride is basically just standing on the soundstage and, well, not the
Feeling
soundstage,
wings.
Well,
but
a
like,
soundstage,
but like
yeah.
a soundstage-esque type of environment, and it's like
Yeah.
shows lights and lightning and and then that was it.
That's not even a ride. That's
That's like the
experience.
Backdraft ride they did at
At best.
Universal years ago. Remember the movie Backdraft?
Yeah.
It was
that
all
a good
about
movie.
fires.
Oh,
And
wait,
stuff.
did the back that was in Universal California though? It wasn't in Florida because I've been.
I thought it was in Florida. I went down there. It must have been Florida. I haven't been to the one in California.
Oh.
So,
Maybe I
so
did.
anyway, you basically stand in like a bunch of bleachers, and up front they just like blast a bunch of fire.
Which
And
one?
you-
Backdraft?
Backdraft,
yeah.
the quote unquote ride.
Yeah.
You're just in a huge room, and they just torch the room essentially.
So you feel
so
the
you
heat.
feel the heat, and then it's off. And like, okay, you can leave now. And like,
Yeah.
thank
But
you
that's-
for heating me up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
It's like
the thing.
95
I'm
degrees
so warm and
outside.
toasty.
Do you understand I'm in Florida? Like, it's this hot anyway?
I was like, I don't need that right now.
And the worst thing about those kind of
You
things,
know, I don't really need this right now.
You just showed me fire. I don't
the,
need
ri-
that.
I've seen it before.
Yeah.
the ride is like,
my ass when I got out of
5
my
minutes.
car.
You stand in line for like 45 minutes to walk into this fucking thing that literally does nothing.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Can I get a drink at least? No.
That's
Something.
terrible. That's such a waste of time.
Oh, yeah. So clear, it's not there anymore, but
Well, yeah.
Remember, yeah,
I
the
should
first time I
hope
went
so.
there, I was like, wow, what
I
else
remember
gonna
the
happen?
original Indiana Jones stunt spectacular.
It's still there.
Yeah, that I went to.
Awesome.
I wanna see that.
I remember my mother and I
That's-
went. We
that's
cut
fun.
in. We
If
cut
there's
the line.
anything
we
I
went
want to
in.
see it, like Disney or Universal,
So
it's
The
literally
ride
that.
in California is better. The Indiana Jones ride, and you get into like one of
Is
the
it a roller
cars.
coaster?
Not really. No, it's
Oh.
an adventure you go through, and then like you're in like one of the like almost like it's a cross between like a Jeep and one of those carts from Temple of Doom.
Yeah,
It's like a
yeah,
Jeep
yeah.
thing. And you're going through, and you actually go in this room, and like it's huge. It looks like there's all the lava, and it's really fucking hot, and you're climbing over, like you're going over the thing, and
It's a big
almost like
ball
Jurassic-
rolling down after you. and
Yeah,
if you
at
don't
one
get out
point
of the
they're
way,
like,
you die.
You're going
Oh, that's
this
cool.
way, and the ball starts rolling at you, and like the car kind of backs up. You're like, oh fuck, and then it goes right near you, and it drops underneath. Like the floor,
Oh, that's
and
cool.
the car
So
goes down
cool.
underneath the ball.
That actually
It's really cool.
that reminds me. I've never been to the one in California, but that reminds me of the Mummy ride in Florida. It's same setup. It's
Yeah.
like you sit into like this little cart, whatever,
Yeah.
and you kind of go, so it's very very similar to what
Yeah.
you're saying.
The Jurassic Park one in California is kind of, but it's more of it's a water one. So like it's in
yeah.
the truck where you're in the water, but you're floating through the water. Then actually you kind of come out and you do like the little dip, like oh, and it's like a dinosaur.
Yeah.
And you know like the big one, all of a sudden like the T-Rex is like comes at you, you just duck underneath it, and it's like the flume ride. You just fucking bolt.
Oh, nice.
You just drop, and that's when they're taking the pictures. And I have that picture. All like, they just drop your ass.
I want to go to Disney California, Universal California, because I've never gone to that coast.
That's one of my favorites. I have a picture. This was during Delio's wedding when we went out. That's how long ago it was. Yeah. Delio's wedding is when we went out there for
2000.
this. Yeah. So we went out there, and it was obviously everybody was out there. So we all went to Disney, like, well, shit, we're here. I've never been here. Let's go for Disney. And we get there, and Matt, being his ex, locked his keys in the car. They were still in his pants. They were in his pocket, and the way he hit the door, it grabbed his pants with the key and the fob and jammed it in the door. So I have this picture of him, like, with his pants stuck in the door.
That's hilarious.
Like, how the fuck do I get this out? And Isabella, who was really tiny, is just looking at the camera like, is Daddy that stupid? We're like, yeah.
Unfortunately.
He managed to, eventually he managed to, like,
how do you
jimmy it out, because, like, the key fob was really flat, the rental cars, know, and just he managed to eventually jimmy it out of there and got him so free.
Wow,
like, how the hell is he going to get out? And it was like the back door, too. We're like, how the hell did he get that? We're like, dude, how the hell? It's 1,000,001 shot.
What a nightmare.
He got his pants jammed in the door with the key still stuck inside.
Looks like you're getting out of your pants.
Yeah, pretty much.
Where's the scissors? Cut them out.
Get out of your pants, big boy. All right. Any last final words? We're at an hour 20 on Indiana Jones, which is more than this fucking movie deserved.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of other things.
We did.
As we normally
do. So let's go, Russ. You heard my ranking. This is fourth. I go like 1 and 3, or almost tied. Then it's 2, then 4. Where y'all at?
That's actually exactly how I would do. I'd say 1, like 3 and 1 are all like almost tied, and then there's.
I love them both, but for different reasons. But I love them equally.
Same, yeah. And then I'd say 2 then 3.
2 then 4.
3,
4,
2,
yeah, that one.
3, 2, 1, 4.
Out of your goddamn mind, but we love you.
No, you know why? Because you've even said it. That movie happens without Indiana.
Yes. That is the known trope of the first movie. Yeah. That entire movie happens whether he's in that movie at all.
Right. I mean, I do like it. I do.
I still think
love
it's
that movie,
really
but
awesome.
But the other ones,
the outcome of that movie happens no matter what.
I think that's true for a lot of movies, though.
Yeah. It can be. Absolutely can be.
So that's not.
we're talking about this movie.
That's not. Well, what I'm saying is that's not a metric I'm gonna adhere to, because I think that movie, most movies, probably
fair enough,
something like that happens.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, because I think 1 was better than 2, which is better than 3, and I think 4 was absolutely in the bottom. But that's just me.
Cool beans.
I do like Sean Connery's addition in third one, though.
Yeah.
Like, he's his dad, and you can see, like, him interacting with his dad. Like, everybody's got
That's why I like it better,
dad.
because I liked his interaction better than I liked him and Kate Capshaw. I could throw her right under an elephant hoof.
Yeah, there's always that one chick that's in it. Like, even though, like, the chick at the first movie, I don't remember her name.
Karen Allen.
All right, Karen Allen.
She's the 1 in 4.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Okay.
But,
Karen
like,
Allen.
even her, she had, like, really cool moments, but most of the time she was the screaming female that you save,
That's
I guess.
why I couldn't say it. I didn't like that about Parks
So that's what I liked a lot about, like...
the same way. She's worse.
I know, that's what I don't like
about
Parks.
worse.
Screams the entire goddamn movie.
It's kind of an 80s trope.
Yeah, she had no
God.
redeeming quality. She had no redeeming qualities.
For that whole fucking
she was
movie.
Terrible.
They did a bunch of
From
movies
the
like
nightclub, she was screaming all the way to the end.
I was
on the
sick of
elephant
her.
at the end that was like throwing water on her.
What's the other? There were a few
She's
others that were like that.
my least favorite part about Temple of Doom.
Oh, it's awful.
She's my least favorite part.
I like Short Round though. He's doing well. He came back to acting. He's doing more stuff. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he's done
that's
stuff.
good.
He's the same. He's Data from Goonies too, but he's
Yeah.
back into acting. He's doing some more stuff recently. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad. We need.
I think for me, 3 was also
I think it took
because
a
of the
while for him to
context.
get out of that Goonies.
I think it was cool to have
like,
his dad there.
Shadow.
Yeah,
the interaction between dad and son, I thought it was
It was
really
very. It was. I thought it was
he
really
was,
well
you
done.
know, Connery was like, really? You're gonna,
We named a dog, Indy.
You ruined my life.
Yeah.
How could I? I wasn't even there.
and everybody's got those moments where you're like, were you talking to your dad, and you're like,
wow,
fuck, god damn it.
I like the fact that when Sean Connery's like, she talks in her sleep. He's like,
wait,
we both slept with the same chick.
Yeah.
Oh god, that was really gross.
Like just the look of Dad.
That part was like funny, but a little gross.
Yeah,
and that's exactly how I think it was supposed
to be. Both slept with the same woman. That was a little like
I like,
but that was Luke kissing Leia, but it was still a little. Like,
that was really funny though. Just that realization of like, oh my god, no way.
I just thought like the father not being absolutely happy with what his son was doing or how he was. I was
going about it. Yeah. Hits close to home, does it?
Home.
Yeah, no.
You're like, damn.
I like part 3 more just because it was the they're going after the Holy Grail, and and I like that kind of story. It was like, you got to go to the library, you got to find this, you got to find that.
Yes.
Like, I love shit like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Looking for puzzles, looking for clues, finding where to go.
For me,
that's good writing.
That's awesome fucking writing.
Thank you, Bruno, for clarifying that.
Writer / physics critique.
It's like, we have to ask Bruno. Bruno, was that good writing?
Good writing?
I'll give that a B+.
I like that, and it was like, about the whole... The cup.
Yeah, the Holy Grail.
The Holy Grail. Thank you. So the whole
second fucking time already.
Oh my God. So because the whole movie, and it kind of made everybody go, "Oh, the Holy Grail." The Holy Grail is what we all thought was basically a big tablet, right? And that's what everybody's always thought it was.
A tablet.
A
Say that
tablet?
again.
A tablet.
No.
Grail is always supposed to be a cup.
Always the cup.
It's always been the cup.
Christ's blood.
It's always been a cup.
It's the cup.
I don't know
it's the
what
cup
you're
that he
talking
fed.
about.
He drank, put his
No,
blood into.
I know what the movie tells us.
I mean, when I was little, I thought it was a fountain, and then I was
Isn't
told
it
it
the
was
same
a
cup
cup.
that caught his blood when they put it on the crucifixion?
Something like that. I don't know.
But it's the one he gave to his
They
disciples.
drank wine out of.
Yeah. I thought it was the same. I thought it was the same cup they caught, but I could be very wrong on that. I know it's definitely the one.
I think
at the
they
Last
said
Supper.
both of those in the movie.
Yeah, I feel like it was also the one that cut his.
But it's always been a cup.
But anyway,
yeah, it's a cup.
I digest.
Then I digest because the stories
Moses
of the
had the tablets from the Ten Commandments.
I know
those are tablets.
Isn't that what was put in the ark?
That was right.
Yeah, that was in the ark.
From the ark.
I understand that, but y'all know the tablet that was on the knight's shield, right? That they find underneath in the catacombs.
No, it was just a shield.
No, it was a tablet that got broke.
Yeah, there was two.
Okay.
Oh, well.
There was two. It was basically a map to get to the Grail.
So when they
just told them how to get there and where to start the trail.
So the play on that though is before people thought it was a cup or knew it was a cup or think it was a cup, I'm almost positively sure that the Holy Grail told a story and it was a tablet. It wasn't so much the cup. And then it became the cup. And if you look at, if we go to other movies, Sangreal, which is holy blood, is actually not the cup itself, but the bloodline. But now that we're going into different
You're talking about like Illuminati bloodline and all that stuff.
Not Illuminati, but...
That's what they did in Da Vinci Code, too.
The Da Vinci Code, yeah. So the Holy Grail...
I was not sure about Multiverse of Madness. Go ahead.
Well, technically holds the blood, in a...
Sure. I don't know. I always. Prior to said movie, I always thought that the Holy Grail was.
I've never heard of it being a tablet.
You could be.
I'm like, I've heard of it being
I'm not a deeply religious person, so I wouldn't.
Like, not. I've never heard it as a tablet.
But
maybe you just only saw things where it's a tablet, and I haven't seen them.
Anyway, I thought that whole storyline was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And
it was cool anyway.
Yeah, which is why it's right up there with number one for me, but again, for different reasons.
Yeah.
Like, I loved all that stuff about it and the Grail stuff because it was back to the religious stuff. I liked the Sean Connery edition. I liked that little banter back and forth between the two of them on his adventure. So it wasn't just kind of like Indy alone on the adventure, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He had someone to play off of the whole time. I liked the fact that they had like Marcus going along with him, and he gets kidnapped because he's a bumbling idiot.
Because he's
oh my
bumbling.
god, I love that. They hype him up so much. You know, they're like, he can speak like several different languages. We could put him anywhere.
He's days
You'll never
ahead of
find
you.
him.
You'll never find him.
And then it flashes to him going like, "Excuse me, does anyone speak English?" Like in like
he's like, "Are you serious? Like, no, you kidding me?"
Super Western getup.
You know, Marcus, he got lost in his own museum once.
Yeah. So so the premise of that movie I like a lot more.
Yeah.
The Ark of the Covenant, sure, whatever. That's supposedly in Ethiopia right now.
Quintessential Indiana.
Yeah, I know. So,
which is what bugged me about the fourth movie. The what he was going after, the skull, the aliens had nothing.
But you know what? I don't think it was so much.
Yeah.
It's like Indy 2035. Like, this is Indy in the future. We're dealing with sci-fi shit.
Book.
Yeah, like we're like.
But I think that the reason why he got trapped
Indiana
up...
Rogers in the 21st century.
I think that the reason why he got wrapped up with the skull, though, is because he went looking for his friend Ox.
Yeah.
And not Nazis, sorry, the Russians, because they're Russians in this one. The Russians were like, because they wanted the technology.
Yeah.
And so that's how they bring him. So I think that he didn't go in there thinking, stupid skulls or whatever. This isn't my shit.
Yeah.
But they
stumbled upon that because that's what Ox is dealing
and
with.
they put the skull in his eyes in front of his face, and he was like, blah, 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 blah. And that's how he got, entranced. And all of a sudden, he wants to go find the fucking skull.
Yeah. Again, more hocus pocus bullshit.
More hocus pocus.
Yeah, more magic.
More magic.
Yeah,
hocus pocus
this isn't like a touch of fantasy. This is hocus pocus.
The
bullshit.
whole goddamn thing. And I know this is like a story thing and you can't rewrite the history of the past, but like having Ox as like this guy who's like a mentor and you've never heard of him before. No fucking clue of this guy at all.
But at least
Yet
it's John
he's
Hurt.
with Mary
That's
and he's raising his kid. She's like fucking married to him and he's his teacher. Like, I've never heard of this douchebag's name. Plus the other guy, the quadruple fucking spy.
Yeah, the spy.
You've known him forever. Never heard of this fucking guy before.
Yeah.
Like he's never
It's like
even
my
mentioned him in
closest
passing.
friend.
Like,
Dude.
it's cool.
to
Like
quote-
yeah, Karen Allen, you bring her back from the past. Like, couldn't you have brought somebody else back from one of the original? Like, if you're gonna do that, kind of like this. If this now was supposed to be really the last movie they were going to make.
There's a TikTok meme. If you use that here, it would be Indiana 1 was a work of art. Indiana 4 was bullshit.
Yes, yes, it was.
This is a work of art. This is bullshit.
It's bullshit. Yes.
Yeah.
So there it is. All right. Any final words on Indy 4 and the crap of the Crystal Skull? Anybody else?
Could
No.
use more whip.
Could use a few more whips.
More whip.
All right. How many whips do you give it there, Mila?
Out of how many whips?
Let's just say 5 because I haven't enough time for all
that-
you people and your different calculations on.
I would say a solid 3.
You're at a 3.
2.5 to 3.
Give me a number, you wishy-washy Jesus.
No, 2.5.
2.5. God, it's locked in. Bruno.
I'm going to go 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with
definitely.
Bruno at
I
2
mean,
whip.
that's pushing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's pushing it.
2 whips.
I'm gonna go with a 2.5. You know,
Fair.
as much as
Fair.
I said that I mean, I did enjoy it. Out of all of them, it was clearly the worst. The big bad at the end fucking ruined it for me. But
Yeah.
again, I didn't expect much out of it. So for me, I'm like, it was
Didn't
for me. It was
expect
just
much,
fun
but
to
I had high
watch. It
hopes.
was
Yeah.
fun to watch.
I had high hopes because
It had
Indy.
good
I love the
moments,
franchise.
but
I
it
had
had
high
a
hopes for
lot
Indy
of
when
bad.
Just coming off the third one.
I grew up on Indy, so I was hoping for a
Yeah.
little more.
Yeah.
I think everybody was. So we'll see how the 5th one goes.
Oh, boy.
Exactly.
You know, actually, I think I went. Yeah, no,
It's
I
funny
went
how-
into it so much more than first time I watched, it, I was like, "Fucking aliens! Fuck you!"
Yeah, I definitely flipped the table.
Everybody did. Everybody
When
did.
does the next movie come out? Or do they keep pushing it back?
No, they're working on it. They're working on it. It'll be
Are
another.
they?
Yeah, it's
Are you
either
sure?
it's either 2023 or 2024. But it has to be
Probably
soon.
4. I
Because,
haven't even
I think
seen,
it's 24.
I haven't seen any trailers.
no trailers. But that's still even if it's next year, you wouldn't have seen a trailer yet.
You've a bunch of
you might have
stuff
seen,
coming
like-
out. The
like
early
a-
23 we've seen trailers for already.
Yeah, they're gonna hold this one tight, especially you know what I mean with him. If he's
I
stuck
guess
getting
we'll
injured.
just have to wait patiently then.
Oh, that's your forte. All right, everybody. We are Entertainment Rants at entertainmentrants.com. I want to thank Mila
Thank you.
and Larry.
Thank you.
And Bruno.
Hey.
All right, gang. Please find us online, entertainmentrants.com. Engage with us at engageentertainmentrants.com or on our social media at Entertainment Rants. Find us wherever you are listening to your favorite podcast. Check out our YouTube channel as well. We're putting up all of our past episodes and we're running some shorts and things there on there. Please feel free to write us a nice review on Apple Podcast, Fuck the Sentinel, and we'll enjoy seeing you guys later. And let's rant. What are we gonna do?
Let's rant.
Why did it have to be snakes?
Why did it have to be?
Rant.